coming in with potentially the biggest release of the year. Let's check out the brand new James Tyler JTG guitars. For anyone who is into their high-octane S-style guitars, you'll know exactly what James Tyler are. But to give you a very, very, very quick summary of what they are, James Tyler are a brand that have been going around since the 80s and are quite synonymous with a lot of the most famous session guitarists in the world. And the reason for that being they just make some of the best damn guitars in the world. But we're not here to talk about that today, because if you want a much more in-depth video about Tyler's, you can click above my head. But Tomas, I've enlisted your help today. What are we looking at?
Thanks, Kieran. We are looking at these bad boys. These are the new JTG range from Tyler. They are built in China to keep the costs more accessible to anyone looking to get into this little garden of shred guitars.
Garden of tone, garden of shreds, because certainly with James Tyler guitars, they have their American plant and they have their Japanese plant. And they're definitely up at those premium prices for sure. Now you get a premium instrument, they feel amazing, they sound amazing, but I'm just gonna kind of come out and spoil it immediately. I am so impressed with these guitars. Tomas is impressed with these guitars, not because of just the feel, which we'll get onto, but just the sound of these as well. They do the thing. And what that thing is you're going to show me right now. Let's get some tones out of this thing, man. Now that's the stuff that I'm talking about, because there's a specific sort of tone that comes with Tyler's, and this was the first thing that really caught me off guard when I played an American one for the first time. Was yes, it's kind of working off the blueprint of a million other guitars that we have seen, but there's a specific sort of I don't know, just sound that comes with these. For example, if we're on those those famous in-between positions that just everybody knows and loves from a Strat, there's just a different vibe. You know, I had to just give them with a little bit of the chorus there as well, man. Because that's what these are so synonymous with as well, is that super sparkly 80s sort of clean guitar that you've heard on, again, a million records everywhere. And it's those kind of in-between positions that that's what drew me to the initial Tyler's, was just there's a compression, there's a sort of professionalism, if that's kind of, it sounds like a pro record when you're actually playing that there, which absolutely wild. That was just the fact that they've been able to put these, I guess, into that sort of sound into these I don't want to call these budget, because they in no way feel budget, but in the grand scheme of things they are to the other Tylers. Just I don't know if you would agree with that to yourself, man.
I think you're absolutely right. They're not budget by any means. These are definitely instruments you would want to take gig in. They're instruments you would want to record with, capturing that tone that Kieran was demonstrating. It's snappy, it's crystal clear, it sounds amazing, it sounds amazing with chorus. I think you've got to remember who used these guitars as well. It was session musicians, it was massive guitarists like Steve Lukather and Dan Huff that popularized these in a decade long ago.
Yeah.
They've captured that nice, snappy, crystal clear sound. They've got your humbucker and the bridge for all your rockier sounds. But one of the most important things that they capture as well is the USA and Japanese electronics that Tyler are incredibly famous for.
Which, the fact that they've even got these in there as well is an unbelievably huge plus, because you kind of mentioned some rockier sounds there as well. And I think you'll probably show us what can be added to said rocky sounds. But before we get onto that, why don't you let us hear a little bit of that humbucker, man? Let's throw some gain on for you. Now, you didn't see, because that camera was focused onto Mass there, I was making a lot of that face. Just, especially, there was a certain button that you were pressing on there, man, which we were just about to touch on, but I did want to hear a little bit more distorted tones. But on the topic of Tyler putting their pretty world-renowned electronics into these guitars, the one key factor that they put into it is that mid-boost circuit. Now, what is that doing exactly, Tomas?
So when you're in the clean tones, this is going to give you, once pushed out, it's going to boost all of those single coil tones. It's going to give you this nice volume boost, as well as thickness akin to that of humbucker. But when you're on the overdriven tones, that is going to give you sustain for days. It's going to thicken up the tone and give you that creamy sound, which when you're putting it through the amp and you've got your nice distorted sound, your nice clean sound, this is giving you a whole new palette of stuff to play with across all of the switching options.
You're essentially getting an extra 5 sounds per like pickup position, and that's not like in and out of phase, that's not any sort of like wiring sort of things. It's literally just controlling like how much mid is going to it, which talk about, you know, like the importance of these in like a session sort of situation. Say you're playing in a band, you've got a solo coming up, you kick that on, you're going to cut through the mix like nobody's business. That sound guy's going to be like, oh my god, he's just appeared out of absolutely nowhere. And there was quite an important thing that you did mention, which was on the single coil sounds as well. I'm just making sure that this is turned down, because word of warning, this can sort of peak your signal if you do have it too high. So for example, if we're now, depending obviously on the tone and depending the situation and whatnot, like you may need to use that with your clean tone. But the fact that they've got these in here, because that could have been the first thing that they scrapped. Like, and you know, if I was to imagine what a Chinese-made Tyler would be, there'd be no mid circuit. There'd be, you know, not the same shaped neck. That is so important. Like, that's kind of the main thing that I guess we were probably looking for with this as well, because certainly, not to speak for yourself, but you love the necks on Tylers.
Oh yeah, I think, and actually that's one really good point there that we haven't really talked about in detail, is the neck. Because when you pick up a Japanese Tyler, you pick up a USA Tyler, this is the first thing you notice. As obvious as that sounds, when you pick up any guitar, it's the first thing you notice. But on a Tyler, their neck shape to the scalloped edges is something that you feel immediately. And what they've done with these is work to make these necks as close as possible. They've absolutely nailed it. Now, I might be a bit biased. I'm a huge Tyler fan. But picking these up out the case, having them in our hands just now, these are absolutely fantastic necks. They are effortless to play on, but they have nailed that feeling right down to the scalloped edges of the fretboard.
To be fair, the fact that he is such a big Tyler fan as well makes him the best person to sort of determine what these are in comparison, obviously, to the American ones as well, because you would have been the first person to, if you took out the case and it wasn't exactly right, you'd be like, I'm not really that keen on these, but I think they're quite cool looking. But the fact that they've got the feel, they have the sound, I mean, they've got the look as well. Like, come on now. If you're seeing like the change in that sparkly finish, you've got this stunning chameleon. And actually, there's a couple on the wall there, just as a little bit of decoration for anyone. Like, we've got these stunning solid colours. We've got these, as somebody described it as wallpaper, but we're not going to call it that because we really like that finish as well. But there is a couple of important differences, obviously, from these to their American counterparts. Now, personally, for me and Tomas, I think the most important thing is feel and sound. And I think that's probably a lot for a bunch of other guitarists, as well. But there are a couple of differences when it comes to the Chinese ones compared to the American and the Japanese ones, isn't that right?
100%, yeah. They have to make these accessible somehow. Like Kieran was saying, they've nailed the feel and the electronics. Where they have made these a little bit more affordable is in the hardware and your finish options. So the hardware is all produced by JTG in China. They still get locking tuners. You still get a great 2-point trem. They look very similar to their American and Japanese counterparts, but they are all branded JTG. The pickups, again, working with Tyler to get them as close to things like the Super Humbucker. They are, but they're still produced in the same factory. The finish options, as I mentioned, have been limited, is that your smears, your burning waters, anything that you'll find on a USA Tyler that made them that kind of iconic look, you will get some crossover. So in the likes of this, with the gym burst finish, you usually get gym burst that's more like their smears. This is a metallic one. You have an absolutely stunning sparkle that Kieran's got in his hands there. But if you want the USA finishes, you'll still need to get the USA instrument.
It's definitely, they've not skipped on how good these are as well, because they could have easily just done like, you have a red one, you have a blue one, you have a white one. But the fact that these are still like really out there, and that's one of the things that people always really gravitated to with Tyler guitars in themselves, is those smears, the burning water, they just look so eye-catching, and like, you're not going to be able to hide with something like that, that's for sure. And especially, when you're getting like all the kind of tones that you're getting out of it. I think this is for anyone who's like a fan of a really supercharged S-series guitar. You need to try one of these. That's not even you should go and try one of these. No, you need to get one of these in your lap, and you need to really get to know it, because again, the closeness to the Tyler American stuff, and that's not just a buzzword in any way. Like, this is 100%, these have got the vibe of them. If you want the extra little bits and pieces, with the smears made in that iconic American factory and stuff, then those guitars are still amazing. But I would go out with this every single night. Like, I'd feel really confident playing with one of these live.
Yeah, 100%. I'd want to take one of these home right now.
I think he might, to be fair, but all this first batch, they're going to all you lovely people out there. But just on that note, man, I just want to throw a bunch of distortion on this and just let her rip, to be fair. Let's do it. So that's about as much as we wanted to cover with the brand new drop of James Tyler JTG guitars. This was more of a kind of first impressions of them, because Tomas has had a chance to actually look at these before, but this was actually my first sort of example of getting them in my hands, getting to know them. I've maybe had about 5 minutes of playing them before we even hit play on the camera here, so do believe us when we say it. These are like our true first impressions of them, and I'm just blown away by these, man. I'm so stoked to have them, and I do hope that a lot more people kind of get their hands on them as well, because again, that like just sheer sort of impressed that I am about them, I think is going to be sort of a factor for all guitarists out there now. Certainly if you're like a metal guitarist or something like that, it might be a little bit too stratty for you, but I think you'll agree that you are so impressed with them as well, aren't you, man?
From getting them out the case to into our hands today.
We didn't even mention they come with hard cases as well.
And we're talking proper James Tyler branded blue velvet on the inside. Like, they've gone above and beyond. I just think it's worth just saying that these are for everyone. Like, whether you are a fan of Tyler or any artists that have ever used them, you're going to get that experience out of them. But if you're looking for a high quality S-type guitar with tons of versatility and really cool finish options, There are some understated ones as well, so don't worry about the sparkle being in your face. This is definitely something that you should check out.
Sorry, were you saying something there? I was too busy just like staring at this sparkle finish here. No, thank you so much for joining in the studio today, Tomas. This was a really, really good just, play along with these JTGs for our first impressions here. And we will be having, we'll have some additional videos coming out as well, comparing them to the US models, just getting to know them a little bit more as well, because in all honesty, I don't want to stop playing these. If you want to keep up with all the latest news at Guitar HQ, then you can hit that subscribe button down below while you're there. Give us a like and let us know what you think about the brand new JTG guitars. You're going to be out and trying them out. There will be in your local guitar store in no time at all. But until next time, I've been Kieran.
I've been Tomas.
And we've been checking out the brand new James Tyler JTG guitars. Have a great day.